groovy.
Go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now.
And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.
Listen to Captain America. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Small Screen Stories. I'm Edward Lauder. I'm the editor of Small Screen. And before I get started, if you could like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. That'd be really cool. You can also follow us everywhere on social media at Small Screen Co. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We do release this later on as a podcast rather than watching it, which people do, oddly enough. I do like. I like to listen to things as a podcast. Then you can do that at Small Screen Stories. What else? What else do I have to plug? I think that's about it. Go to the website as well, and that's at small-screen.co.uk. Right, let's get into the comments first of all. Dan Zig is in the comments. Hello, how are you, Dan? He says good evening. He was on the show last night.
It's like, fuck it, you know.
We've got some new people in the chat. I see. We've got Philip Castillo, who says hello there. Oh, maybe he's seen this before. I don't know. Do we have a little for him?
Hello there.
Hello there. We have AC in the chat. Sup, guys? We have Prince Zodiac and Prince. He says, "Hey guys," and DLW says, "What's up, Edward?" Thank you guys all so much for joining us today. We've got quite a lot of stuff to come. We've got as the title suggests, we have some scoops from Mikey Sutton, which is going to be. You lie! I don't lie. I don't. We got some scoops from Mikey. It's
really. I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
We also have Lords of the Longbox Otivo in the chat, and he says it's hard to listen when some producer guy keeps on interrupting with audio. I think you mean memes, mate. Meme.
I just have one quick question.
And well, you know what? I didn't have him on the show last night, and it's really difficult to kind of. Yeah, people say it's weird having and interrupting stuff. To be honest, I cannot do what James does and do this at the same time. So it's a much
call it, Sanchez, or you'll get a knuckle supper.
It's a much better show when James is on, because he does all of the behind the scenes stuff, and I don't have to. So I just can concentrate on talking to you guys.
You lie.
I don't, James. I don't lie. I've got Paul. We got Paul Hurst in the comments as well. It says, "Lol, hi. How is everyone? We're all okay. We're doing okay. I hope you're doing well also, Paul." So I wanted to start off the show today, I suppose, about talking about HBO Max. Why not? Because these shows are we've been talking a lot about the Justice League, the Snyderverse, restoring the Snyderverse. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And I suppose the best way to deal with this is to bring up the story that I did today, earlier on today.
First.
And I do apologize for having the WordPress bits at the top. I couldn't be bothered to get rid of them, but to log out. But basically, a lot of this has been happening after the and Iron Marvel's here. Peter's here. Glad I'm here for more DC news. There will be some Marvel stuff later on, Peter. So and TiVo's gone. Apparently, says okay, bye. So and Raj is in the comments, says hi Ed, and he also goes on to say, is the HBO Max Snyder Trilogy trailer fuck up gonna be covered tonight? Yes, it is. It's going to be covered in a second. I think you can see it there if you're reading what's on the screen, what we wrote. So basically, a lot of people were asking me, I think Raj as well, you were one of those people, about the HBO Max trailer that was released for Justice League, calling it the trilogy trailer. So I suppose that they're trying to brand, and Ann Sarnoff did this in her article in Variety as well, branding Zack Snyder's movies as a trilogy. So starting off with Man of Steel, then Batman vs Superman, and then ending up with Zack Snyder's Justice League, calling that a trilogy. And yeah, I mean, it was never intended to be a trilogy. Let's be honest. That the whole Snyderverse thing was supposed to continue. It was supposed to continue. They were originally planning to make 2 Justice League films, so Part 1 and Part 2. We know that he had that Zack Snyder had plans to do even more Justice League movies. So calling it a trilogy is just a nonsense. It's completely wrong. But it's the way they're branding it now. Now HBO Max has kind of been pushed into that area as well of branding it a trilogy. Why is that? Well, I'll go into it. A lot of it is in this article. All of it is in this article. There were a lot of people holding out hope that HBO Max would continue the Snyderverse, and if I'm going to give it a percentage, I'll give it at the moment probably a 20% chance of it happening. And I know I've been a bit down on the Snyderverse, but it continuing on HBO Max specifically. But there are a lot of reasons why it's not really going to happen. Now, I was reporting earlier on that there are people inside HBO Max or inside Warner Media that are very keen on continuing this. And yes, they are. They're still there. You know, the names are thrown about all the time. Specifically, Jason Kilar is a big proponent of the Snyderverse movement, and he and many people inside HBO Max were really keen on making this their thing. But ultimately, money is an issue. Something that Warner Brothers at the moment is actually in dire need of because of the pandemic. The pandemic has been a massive blow financially for Warner Brothers, and they haven't been able to release films in 2020, and then 2021 is kind of the same thing. They can't release these movies in cinemas like every other movie studio, but Warner Brothers has been hit particularly hard because that is literally their whole strategy.
Wow, what can I say?
And Danzig says, I think it's a British thing, Ed. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Probably it is. Probably it is. But, you know, there are some things that I've been told that kind of makes me think that they're not really looking at this anymore. And they're not really looking at continuing this as it currently stands. It's not in their plans. And, of course, their plans, it's moving on specifically with the other movies they've got going on. And again, this is another reason why New Gods and The Trench was cancelled, was because of budget. And one of the reasons is that one of the reasons they brought in Walter Hamada was to control the budget, because for them they were spending far too much money on these movies.
And I do think that moving forward.
So as it stands at the moment, yes, unfortunately, what I'm being told is that the Snyderverse is done, and it's very much the company line. So the company line is that this is the final movie in the Snyderverse, and the company, HBO Max, is part of that company, which is Warner Media. So they have to toe that line. So is the Snyderverse finished? At the moment it is, but there's always a possibility that it can be brought up and taken up again in the future. And I'm being told that Zack Snyder has more than enough interest in continuing it, but it really does depend on who's involved and how much budget he can have. And that really is a key issue. That is such a massive issue for them. So it's like, it's not just a massive, like Snyder, he requires a certain amount of money to be able to do the movies that he wants to do. And his movies are not cheap. And Justice League is turning out to be one of the most expensive comic book movies ever made. So if you look at the budgets that they're being reported on how much they spent for the 2017 movie alone, they're reporting 300 million. Is how much they spent. Actually, what I was told was that the amount of money that they spent on that movie is actually significantly more than that, because the 300 million, they're kind of counting it more as like the way they do budgets. Honestly, never believe what is reported on even IMDb Pro, which I'm subscribed to. Over there, it does say 300 million, but it's going to be more than that.
What?
The reason being is because they often don't count in marketing budgets to the extent that they should. So what I was told is,
Wow.
And also here, the reshoots were actually more expensive than was reported. Actually, they never officially reported the amount they spent on the Joss Whedon reshoots, because they're actually apparently a lot more expensive than we've been led to believe. So I've been told that the number is closer to 350 million was spent on the 2017 version. And then we've got a reported 70 million that was spent on Zack Snyder's reshoots. That is apparently a pretty, let's say, vague estimate of how much they actually spent on it. Apparently it's actually quite a bit more. So this film, I was told, actually probably ended up costing them 450 million. Which would make it more expensive than Avatar, which is crazy. And it didn't make that much at the box office. So it made, I think in the end, it made just over 657 million at the box office. This is 2017's Justice League. This was their film. This was the film for them that they thought was going to crack $1 billion. As of yet, the only film to have done that, I still believe, is Aquaman. I'm not sure. Maybe Wonder Woman cracked it. Maybe Wonder Woman got there. I'm not entirely sure, but I know Aquaman is technically still the most successful DC Comics movie, like of the new ones that have come out. If you adjust it for
So say Aquaman again.
Aquaman. Did I say Aquaman? I did, didn't I?
You got some people talking to you in the comments.
Yeah. Well, let's go into it then. Bring up the comments. The Snyder Universe will happen in 2023 when Hamada is out. Yeah, that could be one way of going about it. But again, at the moment, it's very much like they're trying to keep budgets down, and the Snyderverse, unfortunately, would really raise those budgets beyond to how they just can't afford it. That is ultimately what is happening here. They just can't afford it. Sorry, bring up the other comments. The main obstacle is the 500 million given to the Justice League. Is that the JJ's reboot? So that you're talking about the either the Superman movie that he's making, or the Justice League multiverse film they want to make. So again, these films are in pretty early development. The Superman movie is further along. Bad Robot, yeah, there is a certain amount of money that's being spent on those movies, but then again, it looks like Hamada is very, very keen on getting J.J. Abrams involved. I'm not sure if they're actually going to spend. They're going to try and keep budgets to a minimum, especially on these movies, and that's one of the reasons why they're working with Bad Robots, because they're actually quite good at keeping the amount of money spent down and actually getting. They're not quite as good as Blumhouse or a company like that. They don't do really cheap movies. They do spend quite a bit on their films, but their films do make a profit, and that ultimately is what they want. I'm being told that actually the Warner Brothers is actually lost quite a lot of money on Zack Snyder's Justice League and just Justice League in general. Like, it's been
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
It's not right. It isn't right. And the article, if you read the article, it does go into that in more detail. Yeah, I suppose you're laughing because who reads articles anymore? So late. So sorry. What did I miss? Is old man Hugh returning? There will be more on that later. Dat boy Steve. Don't worry. Danzig says Army of the Dead looks good. Netflix really seems to value him. So again, that is something that I think is quite important to note, is that the trailer came out the other day. It was released by. It was actually. I always look at what Zack Snyder is releasing on Twitter, and he's very good for marketing his own movies. And he did post the trailer, and the trailer is brilliant. That film looks great. Again, this film is in a different genre. First of all, it's a kind of a zombie heist thriller type film. I think. I have to check the budget on that film, but it wasn't quite as expensive. But Netflix is kind of letting him do what he wants. But again, it's not a massive superhero film, so it didn't require as huge a budget as something like Justice League did, or even Batman vs Superman. So I think it looks really good. Hopefully, he can do more of that sort of stuff. And I do wonder whether he wants to do more of that sort of stuff and do kind of just do his own thing, really, and kind of move away from DC Comics and DC films, because at the moment it is toxic, and it's probably the best thing for him to do would be to move away.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
I'm not bullshitting you, man. That would be the best thing for him to do. The Sax God, he made it. I made it. Welcome. And was buying a new saxophone. What I miss. Dude, you play saxophone? That's great. I play saxophone too. That's it's nice to see other guys that play saxophone.
Yeah, you should check out his channel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I will do.
Some really good music on.
I'm an alto player. I play the alto. So Wonder Woman made so it didn't crack $1 billion, but okay. I wanted to just be sure on that, because I do usually have Box Office Mojo, which is now basically IMDb Pro, up and checking budgets and how much movies made. I know that Aquaman was the one that crossed $1 billion. Did Aquaman make more money than Joker? Oh, I'm not sure on that one. I know that Joker made a lot of money, and Joker is still would be the most profitable film for Warner Brothers, and it's ironic that's the film they didn't want made. But that was I think it was 55 million the budget on that.
Joker made 1.07 billion, and
Yeah.
Aquaman made 1.14 billion.
Yeah, so Joker would have outperformed Aquaman in revenue, so in the amount of money they got back from that. JJ's contract would be up before he makes anything. Nice work if you can get it. Yeah, I mean, who knows what's happening with JJ's contract? I've been asked a lot about people's contracts with Warner Brothers. That is very much between Warner Brothers and the people involved. So honestly, if anyone's reporting on contracts and things like that, I'll take that with a giant grain of salt, because there's no way people know what's in those contracts unless they're in the room, or JJ or Zack Snyder's lawyers. And also, someone asked me about like Zack Snyder's contract with AT&T. I don't think he has a contract with AT&T, but then again, I don't know. I would imagine that his contract would be with Warner Brothers and not AT&T. Aqua Joker incoming. Here we go. That's Peter. Yeah, possibly they're going to try and blend the two and make as much money as they possibly can. Who else do we have in the comments? Let's have a look. Come on, James, bring it up. Trumpet and Baronet Horn myself. Oh, okay. So we got some brass in musical instrument chat going on. Bought a Selma Jubilee Super Action 2. Oh man, that's quite expensive. I hope you have fun with that. I can't wait to see what you do on your channel with that. The next 7 days will be interesting. Nielsen ratings, AT&T shareholder meeting. So the AT&T shareholder meeting is something that's going to be very, very interesting. I think that's the 22nd of April. I think that's going on. So I will be keeping a close eye on that. Well, actually, you can listen in to shareholder meetings. Even, I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time as a journalist. It's really weird to do it. It's quite fun. The Disney ones are very, very interesting. Yeah, they're always good value. They've kind of Disney now turned that, or they've turned that into like a presentation now. So yeah, that'll be cool.
It's like their Comic-Con now.
Yeah, it is like it's now their Comic-Con. It's their investors presentation meeting is now their Comic-Con. And then that was like the reason it was so weird is because at the end of it, that whole thing, it turned into like what a normal shareholders meeting would be. It's just people like questions and answers, really, and that's it. That was quite interesting. So this one will be less flashy. It'll just be you can listen in. You can listen into what's being said.
Like Kevin Feige did with the TCAF.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What else you got on this article, Edward?
Yeah. Kind of. This is people destroying my flow. So Warner Brothers' bank balance has been hit hard by the pandemic. That's one of the. And then,
Really, I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
yeah. So then, that actually helped me because I could bring myself back on track. So 2020 was going to be a massive year for Warner Brothers, because not only did they had James Gunn's Suicide Squad coming out in that year, and they had Dune, however you say that. If you understand that reference, then you watch some good channels, some good YouTube channels. So yeah, those films would have made a lot of money for them at the box office if cinemas had been open. And Warner Brothers is a company, a studio that is still very old-fashioned. They're still highly, highly reliant on those box office numbers, because I mean, companies like Disney and Marvel are moving away from it. Well, they're the same company technically, and then with the advent of streaming, it's really kind of changing the game. Warner Brothers is still quite behind. HBO Max is still only available in certain areas, so they can't make the amount of money they want to make using something like HBO Max. Disney Plus has been a huge, has been a massive help for Disney to carry on throughout this pandemic. They're not doing badly. Warner Brothers are in a very different position. Sony have just done a huge deal with Netflix. It was $1 billion deal so that they can have so that Netflix can have their movies, Sony's movies, exclusively on their platform. I think it's a limited exclusivity deal they've done with them. So we're seeing studios kind of try and come up with ways to really handle this pandemic, and I do think the way people watch movies will change moving forward. And we're talking about the Investors Day presentation. Disney was really talking about direct to consumer, and this is So this is very much something that AT&T specifically is looking into and very keen on, and that's why they're so desperate to make HBO Max as successful as it possibly can be. But ultimately, the reality is that the rollout has been incredibly slow for HBO Max, and that's been a huge problem for Warner Brothers, for HBO Max, for Warner Media, and for AT&T. So basically, what it all means is that they're being really, really tight on the purse strings. They don't want to spend that much money on these movies moving forward. They still want to make them. They still want to make DC Comics films, but ultimately, they're only making the ones that they think will make as much money and for as little and be made for as little money as possible, which might be one of the reasons why Our Man was greenlit, and that might be Walter Hamada's kind of saving grace is that film. I honestly don't know. Like, I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how that film does. Where the Snyderverse is concerned, they know that if they let Zack go on and do his his upcoming Justice League films, those films would end up costing them at least 200 million each, possibly. I'm pretty sure Zack could do them for less, but let's be realistic here.
You're funny guy, Sally.
It'd be very difficult for Zack Snyder to make a Justice League movie for less than 200 million. Really, it would be quite difficult. The way he's the way the films are made, it just might not work that way. Joker's different. Joker, you can make that for 55 million, and that'd be fine. Now, Tutaleni says that Our Man won't even gross 200 million. We'll have to wait and see on that one. We will have to wait and see. Maybe not. I don't know. People didn't think that Iron Man would do that well, and that ended up doing really well. So, and he was a B-list, kind of a B-tier Marvel superhero at the time. So, yeah, you've really got to take all this into account. So, basically, yeah, and a lot of this goes into what I've said before. Is like the Justice League cost them a lot of money, so it's 300 million. The reported budget ending up to be actually closer to 450 million than 300 million. Like this is how much money they've spent on Justice League. And actually, I was told that execs inside Warner Brothers see Justice League in its entirety as a massive failure. Like they see it. So for them, the win-win situation is to drop it entirely and to drop the Snyderverse, because they don't see this as being economically viable. I have said this on multiple occasions that Warner Brothers is very data-driven, and they look at the data more than I think any other movie studio. Maybe like Sony look at it more, but they really do value that. And they talk about being a filmmaker studio first, and there is an element of that as well. And that's why they did at the beginning really back Zack Snyder. But ultimately, the numbers just weren't there for them. They were expecting much bigger, bigger box office revenue from these movies, and they just didn't get them. They didn't get the amounts that they wanted, and ultimately, a lot of it is due to bad budgeting. They just budgeted poorly and probably gave people that didn't deserve money too much money. Birds of Prey didn't do very well. Suicide Squad did pretty well for them, actually, even though that film was butchered. But these films could have done so much better if they had just not had studio interference. Let's be honest there. That like Suicide Squad, I think David Ayer's Suicide Squad probably would have ended up grossing much more than it did if they just kept David Ayer's version, because more people would have gone to see it, I think. A lot of it is the fact. The problem with these films was that they weren't really benefiting from repeat viewings. And that is really something that's very important here. Also, the problem with Suicide Squad was it didn't get a China release. That was a big problem for them. It actually did pretty well, even without a China release.
Talking about the extraordinary consequences.
So, and then this is like what Ann Sernoff was referring to, the culmination of Zack Snyder's trilogy, even though they originally planned to have at least one more film from him. So does this put the nail in the Snyderverse coffin? Well, no, it doesn't.
Sorry, Edward.
Yeah.
Danzig's comment, viewed as a financial failure, that shouldn't be all down to Zack. Well, they wouldn't even promote it, right? Zack did all his own advertising. Yeah. But also, I'm not saying that it's a financial failure because of Zack. It's not. It's not a financial failure because of Zack. It's a financial. It was a relative financial failure. And this is, I think we're talking more about Batman versus Superman here, because
it was a financial failure because of Warner Brothers, but because of executives at Warner Brothers, they weren't realistic with their targets. I was told by one person that they were expecting the film to be one of the first to gross 2 billion. Like those were the numbers that they were thinking that this would get. That would make sense, I suppose, if you're saying we're making a movie that's Batman versus Superman, but it was never going to get those numbers. So ultimately, I'm not quite sure how close to $1 billion it got, but it got pretty damn close. And I mean, we're still seeing, like, at the moment, the highest grossing movie of all time is still Avatar, and that was 1.5 or something, I think, billion. Again, do tell me the numbers, because I don't have them in front of me. But it's just, it's really the what you have to take into account here is how poorly this was all handled by executives at the very top at Warner Brothers. They were expecting far too much from these movies that they just didn't get. Now they're putting that pressure on Dwayne Johnson, and that's what's happening at the moment. So they're now Zack Snyder does have Dwayne Johnson on his side. He is someone that is an advocate for the Snyderverse. He is someone that has made it very clear that he wants his character to fight the Justice League, and particularly the Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League. So Henry Cavill Superman, Ben Affleck's Batman, the lot, the Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Ray Fisher's Cyborg, and Ezra Miller's The Flash. That's what he wants. Now, whether or not he'll get that, we'll have to wait and see. That is the glimmer of hope, is that if Dwayne Johnson says we need to get these guys in here, we need to continue the Snyderverse, that film would be that and it will be really confusing moving forward, because you'll still have films that are technically connected to the Snyderverse, but Warner Brothers going, well, no, technically Justice League is canon and Zack Snyder's Justice League is kind of to the side. It just doesn't make sense. It would make far more sense to make Zack Snyder's Justice League canon and continue on from that area, and then go into Aquaman 2. But already the first Aquaman film was different to Zack Snyder's version of the characters. You can watch that you can see that just through Amber Heard's accent as Mira. There is that going on there. So ultimately, I think what you guys need to take into account is that, I suppose, ultimately Warner Brothers is probably one of the most...
Things will never be the same, because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
It is about to change. But ultimately what you should remember, if you remember anything from all...
Wow, what can I say?
he's really trying to piss me off.
Really,
I don't like this news.
You don't. I know you don't like this news. I honestly, I'm just trying to be as honest as I possibly. I said honest a lot in that sentence. I'm trying to be as honest as I possibly can be, and this is what I'm hearing, and this is what's happening in Warner Brothers at the moment, is that they're becoming even more cautious with their budgeting, with their spending, and they see the Snyderverse as just an unnecessary expense that they can't afford at the moment. And that is where they've been going for quite some time. AT&T were the ones that came in and greenlit the Snyderverse, the Zack Snyder's Justice League. They could come in again and say, no, we'll give them the money to do this. The likelihood of that happening is relatively low. Like, the best case scenario is that Dwayne Johnson turns up and says, let's do this. AT&T joint that says, okay, we'll give them the money. Let's put Zack Snyder in charge of these movies, of the Snyderverse films, and just bring them onto HBO Max. Hey Mikey, how you doing?
Well, are we talking Snyder? I heard that bad signal,
Yeah, we were. I mean, I was kind of winding up the article I published on Small Screen today about all of this. Kind of, I have had a lot of people going, "Oh, does this mean all hope is lost?" It doesn't, but it's not good. let's just say that. And I know for a fact that James doesn't like that news. How you doing?
I have some. I'll have some DC updates tomorrow. I've been collecting information from actually a new person as well. Something I just didn't expect, and kind of actually along the lines of what you've been saying as well, but a kind of a different take on it, but it's still in line with what you said. There are budgetary concerns at Warner Brothers. That is definitely true.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that's kind of to be expected at this point, because there's been it's been almost 2 years now that they haven't been able to release movies in cinemas. So every studio is going through this, but Warner Brothers is going through it harder than most, I think, at the moment.
Well, it kind of man, what a waste of a year, right? Because Godzilla vs. Kong would have been $1 billion blockbuster for them.
Yeah, but also Godzilla vs. Kong, that money would have gone to Legendary Pictures, most of it, not.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that again is another problem, and again that would have been the same. That would have been the same case with June. June would have the majority of the box office revenue for that film would have gone to Legendary, but Warner Brothers held the distribution rights, so they would have got quite a bit of money from there. But really, for them, it was more the fact that they had to move the Suicide Squad, which was their big film that was going to come out in 2020 to 2021, and then move the Batman even further back, which really for them at the moment, I was told they're seeing this as their holy grail, is the Matt Reeves' Batman film. They're really hoping that this can make the money back and hopefully get them back into some sort of kind of the black. Is it the black? I don't bet, so I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still, I mean, there's a lot of writing on that film. From people I talked to, there are still a number of concerns that people have about that movie. And it really has to do with, I was talking with Sil about this earlier, polarized reaction to Pattinson. And one of the things that I keep hearing from people who work there is that Pattinson has evolved into an excellent actor.
Yeah.
The only problem is most people didn't see those movies. They still view him as the sparkly guy on Twilight, and they haven't seen that evolution. You know, they're still stuck from 10 years ago already, right?
He was amazing in Cosmopolis.
Yeah,
I mean, there are so many good films that he's in that he's brilliant in. The Lost City of Zed is the one that comes to mind for me. I think the minute he was cast, I was like, that is actually kind of inspired casting, bringing in someone like Robert Pattinson into it, because he is an actor with a capital A for me. I think there aren't that many around, and he's someone that cares more about the project and about who he's working with rather than the money and the fame. And I mean, he started out his career doing Twilight, I know, but you know, even at the time, they weren't certain that Twilight was going to be the massive hit that it was. So there is that element, and he ended up hating being in that as well. He was also actually in Harry Potter to begin with, so he's someone that's used to franchises as well. But his career after Twilight, I think, is what you should really look at. Yeah, and there are some incredible performances. Like Good Time is brilliant. That's such a good film. You can watch that on Netflix. And then his performance in the Lost City of Zed is brilliant. Cosmopolis, he's brilliant in that as well. He's in Maps to the Stars as well, which is another David Cronenberg film. So he's someone that is a really I think he's probably one of the most talented actors to play Batman. I do love Ben Affleck as well, and I do love Christian Bale and Michael Keaton. But there's something I think a bit more. I don't know. Just he's a bit more of a bit of a weirder actor, I suppose. Keaton's pretty weird, but there is that kind of strange element to him. I think that I really like.
Kind of reminds me of the career trajectory of Johnny Depp. Yes. Johnny Depp started off as a pretty boy on 21 Jump Street. He went into Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah,
I mean, looking at about as freakish as it gets, teaming up with Tim Burton, who's the weirdest director of a generation. And I remember when Edward Scissorhands came out, one of my all-time favorite films, Johnny Depp was like a pinup boy for all those years before that movie. Yeah. And you're like, what the hell is he doing covering up his pretty face like that, you know?
Yeah.
And then the roles got weirder and weirder, right? Ed Wood. I mean, he just got. And
God, he was
just
so
became,
good as Ed Wood. He
oh,
was
oh god, he was brilliant in that movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
so good. Yeah.
loved him in there.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's actually a very good comparison to make between and we've got him as well coming up a bit later on. I mean, I don't know. Is that? I suppose James will have to come in and tell us what's actually going on because I have no idea. I've just been told that Mikey's coming on at some point.
Yeah, I gave you a little bit lowdown of the 2 scoops, and we got Peter on here too because he's the Marvel guy.
Yeah,
so he can give his thoughts on the scoops too.
Cool. Shall we go through the comments first, and then maybe give you guys some time to set up the article?
Yeah, the article's ready to go.
Okay, cool. So who do we have in the comments? Go on, bring them up, James. Unless I'm asking too much of you. Yes, I am the only. I'm only watching Black Adam. Okay, so someone's going to watch Black Adam. People are saying that this film won't gross $1 billion. I'm pretty sure it will.
It will.
I really hope it does for the sake of the DC, the DC movies. Aquaman, that's a good one. That boy Steve. Oh man. That is how I say Aquaman. Apparently, it's so chaotic at Warner Brothers. It really is. It's just insane. Covering them is insane. Warner Brothers is a hated studio now, and they need top directors: Todd Phillips, Chris Terrio, Chris Nolan, Zack Snyder. Have all shaded them. A massive change needs to happen. They lack. They lack 2 directors, so they probably lack any good directors really at the moment that want to work with them. Yeah.
Hey, Josh Trank is available. Just saying.
Yeah. Josh Trank involved. You got. I wonder what's more. Sock Bulletin says, I wonder what's more chaotic, Warner Brothers or Lucasfilm. To be Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers easily Warner Brothers.
Easily. Like honestly, Lucasfilm was still able to make some pretty decent films and ones that did very well at the box office. And they're also still making it there. They got The Mandalorian going along, and that looks like it's going to be good. So
wish I held onto a little piece of that thing, because the buzz is any indicator, that movie's going to make some huge bank.
What buzz?
The internet buzz.
What the fuck is the internet?
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
It's perfect.
Give credit to Kathleen Kennedy. She didn't get in the way of Filoni and Favreau. No. Even though it went against a lot of what she says about no expanded universe, no more Skywalker. But she saw the money. Come on.
Yeah, there are elements of Kathleen Kennedy that is like, I understand why people don't love her.
Yeah.
But I will say that that she has presided over, financially at least, a very successful enterprise with the Star Wars movies, and I'm pretty sure James won't like me saying the word enterprise next to Star Wars. What else do we have in the comments, James? Let's see. What's he going to bring up next? Mikey. Yes, Mikey is here, right?
Come on, just fucking Mikey!
So should we? Sorry, Toby Emmerich is the reason why the budget in the DCU has been bad. Why isn't he getting the hit for the budget? That is a very good point. To be honest, Toby Emmerich has been in charge of that sort of stuff as well. Well, he's been around when that stuff has been decided. So, I mean, I suppose again, it's that just the fact that it's going to be very difficult to replace Toby Emmerich at the moment. And I'm not sure we're going to start seeing people getting fired left, right, and center. I just think contracts will run out and they won't be extended or renewed. Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen. Right. Should we go into the more Marvel-based stuff now? Because you've got some pretty exciting stuff coming up, Mikey.
Yeah.
Gotta have some good news out there. All the good
news. Bring in the good news. I'm sorry, I started the show on a bum note. People
it's
are
okay.
bummed out now.
I sent you the link, Edward, if you want to pull up on your
I'll do that
on your second screen there. It's in the private chat.
Yeah. Shared. Right, I got it up here. Here we go. Right, let me bring that over here.
Hello, Peter.
How you doing, Peter?
Howdy, howdy. Should be fun.
It should be fun. Dude, what's wrong with your site, man? Here we go. Wolverine, leaked details on Marvel Studios patch film. Oh, this is interesting. What's going on here, Mikey?
Well, basically, they are going to adapt the patch identity from the comic book for one of the Wolverine films that are upcoming. The whole Madripoor thing that's we've seen developing in Falcon the Winter Soldier will be part of his film franchise, at least for one movie. Kevin Feige is looking for different ways of having a fresh Wolverine because Fox had the property for so long, and he really wants to do different takes on the character. He just feels that there is a long comic book history there to pull different genres from.
Yeah.
And so the first one they've been planning on was that Wolverine versus the Hulk movie that I had leaked before. That'd be a great way for him to start to immediately. He's in the MCU now. Immediate impact. Something that fans always wanted to see. They wanted to see those two fight. So that's a very powerful way of starting him off. But with the second film, because Feige plans everything way in advance, they want to have a Madripoor pirate adventure, which has never been done before, and have him assume the patch identity that he had in that comic book. I think it's a pretty long run where he was Patch. It's been so long, like late 80s, early 90s, I believe, that series came out.
Yeah, late 80s.
Yeah, right. And so, and have some of the villains in that series in that film. Now, interestingly, the villain that kept coming up during my discussions and Feige is really excited about is Tiger.
Ah.
Yeah, she is the crime lord of Madripoor, which I had to ask this question, like, is she the power broker? And could not get an answer, but come on, you crime lord of Madripoor, and there was some rumor that went out a few days ago that the power broker or the cameo appearance in Falcon and the Winter Soldier is number one, a character who has never appeared in the MCU before.
Okay.
And this not a character you'd expect to show up already, right?
Yeah.
And it's played by a very well-known personality. Now, on Geekosity, I speculated, and that wasn't a scoop, I just said, what was Kate Bishop? Because her show is coming up. And there is a passing of the baton with Marvel Studios as part of their formula. And it's a way of like, hey, her show is coming up later this year. I thought that was kind of an obvious choice. Also, she's friends with Eli, the Patriot, and they're going to form the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe Kate Bishop is that secret cameo. But after hearing this, I'm like, I wonder if this is a possibility. And then I remembered what Kevin Feige said a few months ago, that a Southeast Asian character was coming to the MCU very, very soon. This character, Tiger, is from Singapore.
Okay.
So I just have to wonder, but I don't want to get into the whole Mephisto thing again.
Yeah.
And I mean, they could. And with TiVo, we were talking, I say, hey, what if Michelle Yeoh was cast as Tiger? I mean, she's a well-known.
Yeah, she's pretty well-known.
She's also Southeast Asian.
Yeah.
Isn't she in Shang-Chi?
Huh?
Isn't she in Shang-Chi?
Let me have a look.
Is she?
I'm pretty sure
she was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but
she's under alien makeup though, right? So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's in Shang-Chi. So
okay. Then
if my memory's right, it's not going to be her.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they could have a different actress. But again, she's going to be in the Wolverine sequel. So maybe they could. I don't know. I mean, it's possible they could set her up for that
Yeah,
film.
she's playing Yang Nan or Zhang Nan in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So she is in that film. Yeah. So I mean, there are plenty of other actors that could play that role, but she is one of the most well-known. Lucy Liu could be someone that they get involved. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
They could get her involved, and that'd be pretty cool. I think Michelle Yeoh is brilliant. I've loved her ever since watching Tomorrow Never Dies. She's in that. She's so good. She's also in
she's incredible.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, brilliant.
I love that.
I'm excited to see her in Shang-Chi. So it seems as though we're getting a patch version of Wolverine. Is that right?
Yeah, for one film. And it kind of throws off the formula. Something new. And Kevin Feige is really interested in having Wolverine in different genres. So obviously we'll probably get a ninja movie.
Yeah.
Since he was in Japan in the 80s, I'm sure there are other scenarios they're going to put him through, which is just different. And again, is linked to his comic book roots. Because what they really want to do is when he's solo, he's really solo. There's no X-Men stuff involved. And so they really want to pursue that.
Yeah.
And they really feel that almost like an Indiana Jones way, where they can have different styles of filmmaking with each of his movies.
That'd be cool.
Like more of an adventurer type, like a rogue type. But I think that's a really interesting way to do it. And it sounds very Kevin Feige-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of thinking outside the box almost.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Hey, Mikey, Danzig's asking about the Wolverine Hulk film still on the cards. You mentioned that.
Yeah, that's the first one. Yeah, it's the first one they want to do, just to get it right out of the gate, like what everybody's been wanting, but Fox couldn't do it. I mean, they didn't have the Hulk rights, so Marvel has both.
Is the Hulk still technically with Paramount?
Universal.
Is it Universal? Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be a Wolverine film with Hulk in it, not a Hulk film with Wolverine.
Yeah.
So it's like Ragnarok, basically. They're gonna Ragnarok it.
That's kind of how they're like approaching the Hulk anyway. It's like that's what they did with Thor Ragnarok, and they'll probably do that again in the future. So they'll get Mark Ruffalo to come in for, to be a sidekick almost. and from what I heard, it's a way of removing the Professor Hulk angle and make him completely savage going against Wolverine. And there is some polarized reaction to Professor Hulk, but beyond that, Kevin Feige always likes to move on and switch things around. So
I think you kind of have to get away from that if you're going to do She-Hulk. If you have Hulk,
you're right. Good point. Great point.
Yeah, that's true. So Raj says, with the rest of the X-Men universe, including the R-rated Deadpool, how are they going to make it fit into the MCU? Will they just recast all of them and reboot them all?
I think, obviously Deadpool is still Ryan Reynolds. From what I heard, most of them will be recast. There might be some exceptions. Who knows? I mean, it's still kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah. And Danzig says he doubts that they would debut Wolverine in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
No, they won't.
They won't do that.
No way. Wait for that.
Yeah, there's also somebody told me a rumor that came out today that there's going to be a Wolverine show on Disney Plus. No, that's not going to happen.
I'm going to share that with you, Mikey, because I thought it was hilarious. But I figured you'd already heard about it.
Seriously.
Okay. All right, we won't say who that came from.
Yeah, Kevin. Kevin Feige said that Disney Plus Marvel shows up for characters who can't hold their own in the theater. Yeah. I mean, Wolverine on Disney Plus. I mean,
unless you're Fox, Wolverine's like printing money.
Exactly right.
Oh. It's sorry. Go ahead, Edward. Go ahead.
Sorry, I got Socks Bulletins is asking, will Josh Brolin still be Cable? That's an interesting question.
That's a great question. I don't know. He was really good at Cable, though.
He was. I'd love for him to stay because I think he's a great actor and he seems to like doing these movies. Like he really likes
does, right?
and he really liked doing Cable as well. Again, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how much they'll lean into that. It really does look like Ryan Reynolds is just kind of doing something different now with Deadpool. He's not working with what are they called? Reese and Wernick, the two writers that did the previous two Deadpool films. They're not part of it anymore. He's working with the Molyneux sisters instead. So it seems as though they're doing something slightly different with Deadpool, still be R-rated and stuff, but maybe kind of open up that world a bit more. And then I've also heard rumors that he's going to replace like Stan Lee in the kind of cameo roles, going to be cameoing in a lot of the Marvel films in the future, which will be weird, but not a bad idea.
I like
what?
Yeah,
I think Stan Lee would approve as well. I think he would approve of that.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, my assumption for Deadpool is he'll come in through the multiverse so they can get rid of all his Fox stuff and just bring him in, and then it'll just be whatever he and the MCU wants to do.
Yeah, I think I saw a comment earlier about I can't remember. Is it Paul Hurst saying building up a character? Then, sorry, here we go. Yeah, building up a character, then building up to a team. Warner Brothers should take some notes, and I always find this really fascinating. The way all this kind of comic book stuff happens, they tend to mimic each other, don't they?
Yeah.
Whether or not it's deliberate or accidental, I don't know. But the year that we had Batman vs Superman come out, we had Captain America: Civil War. They were both relatively similar movies with similar themes. Now we're getting the Flash movie come out, and we're getting Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness come out, I believe, in the same. Well, maybe not in the same year. I think the Flash might be coming out afterwards. But it's just going to be interesting to see how the companies really tackle their multiverses. I'm pretty sure Marvel will end up doing it better. I just get that impression. I don't know.
Yeah, on the DC side. DC films are really inspired by. The standard fans are not going to like this. They're not going to want to hear this, but they're really inspired by Greg Berlanti's work. And
the Crisis stuff.
The Crisis thing, man, that was like a mind blowing experience for them. They're like, "Whoa, we could do something like this." I'm like, you don't read your own comic books, do you? See that? That's the problem right there. That's problem number one. You're hired to represent this company whose own comic books you don't even read.
Yeah.
Like, not even read. Like, yeah, I mean,
especially when they're images. It's so hard.
Go on YouTube and get a crash course in your own history, right? I mean, come on.
Seriously.
History of the Flash.
It's too easy, Mikey.
Sil Abdul is he's tweeting from his new channel, guys. So go and follow him at SilAbdul_. .com #Geekosity. I think that's too branded. So,
welcome to Super Team Megaforce. I am not Edward Lauder,
and nor will you ever.
We actually spent a whole hour on Greg Berlanti today.
Yeah,
which I was joking about a month ago, and actually happened.
Well, what I wanted to ask you guys is, what do you think is going to happen? Like you're talking about Patch, like a different version of Wolverine coming into the MCU. Yeah. There have been a lot of names thrown about, casting rumors, and all that rubbish that's going on at the moment. What do you think Marvel is going to like? So you think that they're going to be doing different versions of Wolverine in the MCU, or do you think Patch will be the MCU's Wolverine?
Well, let's get to the second scoop then.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Was that a good segue? Because I have no idea where.
Good segue. I'll send you the link. You bring it up. Read it this time to the audience there, Edward.
Me? Okay. You want to see my live reaction?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, and your elegant Captain Britain voice.
Oh dear. So much pressure, guys. Seriously. Let's get this
Go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now. Do it.
Right. So here we go. Is this it? Hugh Jackman Hugh Jackman wants to look at Marvel Wolverine plans before walking, right? That's it. That's the one. Yeah. So this is written by Mikey Sutton. He's the editor-in-chief and owner of Geekosity. Here we go. I'm trying to do this a bit differently. Hugh Jackman might not be done with Wolverine. However, he needs to see a script from Marvel Studios first. After 2017's Logan, Hugh Jackman. Have I not actually put the thing in the? I have. Yeah, I have. Sorry. I've already ruined it. After 2017's Logan, Hugh Jackman felt he was finished as Wolverine. Critics praised fans Logan worldwide. Critics and fans praised Logan worldwide. Furthermore, the Academy, it's late for me. Academy Awards nominated.
Hello there.
The film was also a massive box office smash, grossed over 600 million globally. Perhaps more importantly, Logan cemented Hugh Jackman's legacy as Wolverine. Consequently, Hugh Jackman felt that it was a fitting goodbye. Marvel Studios, Hugh Jackman's absence in the MCU is a missed opportunity. Obviously, it wasn't their fault. Fox still had the X-Men rights back then. Unfortunately, Hugh Jackman is already 52. I didn't know he was that old. And the physical toll of playing Wolverine will increase in the years ahead. Sources close to me have said that Marvel Studios has spoken to Hugh Jackman about playing Wolverine a final time. Insiders added that Hugh Jackman wasn't open to considering it at first. He is concerned that no matter how good the film is, Logan would be diminished. His main worry is that Wolverine died in Logan. Resurrecting him from this mortal coil would cheapen director James Mangold's masterpiece. Apparently, Kevin Feige reassured him that this wasn't the same Wolverine. Instead, he's a Logan from the multiverse. The continuity is different. In other words, Logan remains untouched. There have been numerous rumors about the Wolverine veteran actor possible entry into the MCU for years. The current status is this: he wants to see a script. If he feels it is right for the character and the money is good, he'll do it. After all, he's not going to blindly walk away from a potential deal. Show me the money. It's about more than the Benjamins. Show me the screenplay. Hugh Jackman wants to look at Marvel Wolverine's plan for walking. I'm told that the strongest possibilities are two future MCU blockbusters. One is the second Deadpool movie for Marvel Studios. They don't want the MCU debuts of Deadpool and Wolverine to be in the same film. Moreover, they don't want to delay Deadpool because of contract negotiations. Deadpool is going to jump around the multiverse. He will generate all sorts of comedic chaos. He could meet Wolverine in a sequel, all hell breaks loose in an R-rated movie. In other words, Secret Wars. Hugh Jackman hasn't committed to either one. No formal offers have been made yet. So
catch this. We got this covered tomorrow as 6 scoops.
You know, when I was writing it, I'm like, oh, God, I see the possibilities here. Let's take this part, make it a story. Let's take that part, make it a story. And I'm like, oh, no.
They do it all the time. They do it with my stuff all the time. But that's fine. That's fine.
Marketing brilliance, I have to say that.
Yeah, it's what they do. It's their prerogative. That is interesting. That is really interesting. So, I mean, all of this to say, could Hugh Jackman come back?
You know, there is a possibility. Apparently, that's the main reason why he was so adamant about not doing it. He really thought that Logan would get cheapened. You know, they would bring him back from the dead, or totally retcon Logan, and that film to him it means a lot to him. And for his character to come back, he's got to have a damn good reason for him to play him again. But he doesn't want to do more than one movie. He'll do one film just to say, yeah, I was in the MCU for one film.
Yeah.
Let's make it a special event. It's really not about money for him. Of course, he wants to get paid a lot. Yeah, he does. But there's got to be a really huge reason for him to do this. And when he was told that, because he has no idea about the multiverse, really nobody does but us. You know, I mean,
well, hopefully Kevin Feige has some sort of idea.
Yeah. But when he was told that no, this would be a different version of Logan. It wouldn't be. That story is done. What you did there, you accomplished it. Congratulations, it's done. You know, it's a different reiteration of the character. If they do it in a multiverse, it won't be the MCU Wolverine because they are going to cast a younger actor.
Yeah.
Somewhat younger actor in the role for him to go long term. So with Deadpool being so chaotic, he could be on some Earth where there is a different Wolverine there and has some sort of crazy adventure, and so it doesn't have to make too much sense, you know. It's comedy. And he really wants to do that Ryan Reynolds team up. I mean, they've been teasing that on social media for a while.
Yeah.
That has been a pipe dream for both of them, and you know, Marvel's very interested in pulling it off, and it won't affect Logan whatsoever. So,
I mean, the mere idea of selling a film off like it's going to be a Deadpool and Wolverine buddy movie, basically, like with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. That will, if that doesn't make $1 billion, then honestly, I don't know what will.
Right?
Like honestly, that would be such an interesting thing to do. And I mean,
the trailer for that would go like, you know, millions of views in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to see it.
Yeah.
And there are some people making some interesting comments in the chat. Paul Hurst says, "Who on earth?" I'll let bring up. Oh no, he's in. Who on earth would want to follow him as Wolverine? And that's actually a really important question.
It is.
I think it was it the Russo brothers did mention that, and then they said that it's a bit like, think of it more in the future as being a bit like James Bond, and having someone come in that and kind of putting their own spin on it. And they actually want to direct a Wolverine movie. Is something that they said.
They do, yeah.
So I mean,
over and over and over again.
Yeah, they really want to do it. You know what, Russo brothers, make decent.
Well, they also want to do Secret Wars, so
hey,
for them both.
Why not?
I mean, I watched Cherry recently, and that is not a good film. It's a good performance. It's not a good film.
Yeah, I heard.
What? I was gonna say though, they're good at making comic book movies, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if their other films fail. The Marvel films have done very, very well. That's what matters.
I think they will be coming back to Marvel pretty soon.
Oh, yeah, they will. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, whether or not making
go ahead, Edward.
Whether or not making a Wolverine film is the best bet for them, I don't know. Just cast the right guy. You think so?
I suspect they're going to go with someone who's pretty new. I don't know that you can go with an established actor for it. Like Hugh Jackman was pretty unknown to international audiences when he was cast too.
Yeah,
I think that helped.
He wasn't the first choice either.
No.
Who was that guy that's on Batwoman?
It was the Scottish actor. Dougray Scott. It was Dougray Scott.
I know, right? Sorry, you heard Wolverine. You hear your Catwoman's dad.
The thing is, right? So it was Dougray Scott who was originally cast as Wolverine. So he's a Scottish actor that was the villain in. Well, the story is really interesting because he was cast. He was going to do it, and then he was offered Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
So he went and he played the villain in that, and he went and did that, and then they brought in Hugh Jackman. Rewatch the first X-Men film. I go on about accents. Hugh Jackman is literally Australian in that movie. He's literally going, I'll fucking Wolverine, mate. Yeah, I'll rip your claw, I'll rip your head off. You know, there's a lot of that going on. He was not really prepared for the role in the first film.
Go over there and hit the fucking like button.
He was asked pretty late in that process too.
Well, it was already going ahead. They literally, Dougray Scott left that in the very last second to go and fuck around with Tom Cruise, and then Dougray Scott is in Batwoman after that. So the thing he does next.
It's like the Aragorn casting in Lord of the Rings, where they turfed the guy with a few days to go.
Yeah,
and brought in Viggo Mortensen.
Yes, yes, that's literally what happened in that film.
Yeah, before Scott, Russell Crowe was being considered at the time, and I went and saw L.A. Confidential because of that. Cause I wanted to see Wolverine. Like, oh my god, this guy be perfect for the role. He didn't get it. So.
I mean, Guy Pearce was in that film, so he was in it. It ended up in Marvel movie as well. Lords of the Longbox TiVo says, obviously these guys haven't seen Nine Bridges. I have. It's not very good. It's not very. I love Chadwick Boseman, but that film isn't brilliant. I'm sorry. It's not. What are you going to say? You came in for a second and then left.
All right, I thought you were talking about Russo
looks like a Batwoman. So.
Welcome to Collinwood is a good movie by the Russo brothers. It's not a superhero movie.
That's not a superhero film. I mean,
and all the episodes they directed of Community is really good.
Yeah, anything they did on Community was brilliant. But yeah, I mean,
That's nice. It went from Community to Winter Soldier. Like, what a huge jump! Like, how does Kevin Feige see that? These guys be the perfect Winter Soldier directors.
It was the
From
paintball.
Community. Like, what the hell?
Episode. It was the paintball episode in Community. Yeah. I think that was the one. But he's got a really, I think, a very good eye. Like, you look at John Watts. Before that, he did that film with Kevin Bacon, didn't he? Where
the car one though.
And that was fine. That was fine. But he obviously saw something in there, and he was like, "This guy." I think they do like hiring relatively inexperienced directors as well because they're cheaper. They're cheaper, and they can kind of handle them a bit more.
Yep.
So I think there's an element of that, especially if you watch. I mean, the Russo brothers are obviously their Marvel films speak for themselves. They're very good films. They obviously know what they're doing, but they get a lot of help as well. There are a lot of second unit directors involved. I mean, the fact that not Extinction, what's it called? The
Endgame?
No, the Netflix film that came out with Extraction. That's it.
Yeah.
That was filmed, directed by the second unit director on, I think it was either The Winter Soldier or Civil War, Sam Hargrave. So he did that film, and you can tell that these guys they're surrounded by very, very talented people.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. But there is that element of Scott Derrickson, when he did Doctor Strange, he was just doing kind of cheap horror movies before that. James Gunn is kind of the same. James Gunn was doing relatively cheap films, like really schlocky films, to be honest. I love Slither. I think Slither's brilliant. But
didn't Gunn start with Trauma?
yes, he did.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that Feige's good at, though, is moving away from directors if it's not working.
Yes.
He doesn't do it a lot, and he usually says very nice things, but there are directors who just disappear.
That was my biggest, I think, as far as the MCU is concerned. I think the day I distinctly remember the day when it was revealed that Edgar Wright was no longer going to direct Ant-Man. And I was in Thailand at the time, actually, and I was so upset because I love Edgar Wright, and I was like, I was so desperate to see, because it was Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish. Joe Cornish, incidentally, he's going to direct something. I can't remember what it is, but something quite big. But two of my favorite, like Joe Cornish, I think is brilliant, and Edgar Wright, I think is brilliant. And then replacing both of them with the guy that did Bring It On. That's a bit like, what? Peyton Reed?
I was going to say Peyton Reed, I think, still has yet to prove himself, but they like him for whatever reason.
That's why he didn't get Fantastic Four.
Yeah, he really wanted that. Yeah. We'll give it to the guy that did the Spider-Man films. Fine.
But we got Baby Driver out of it, though, which is good.
We got Baby Driver, which is decent. We also he did another film as well, didn't he? Before maybe not actually. He doesn't. He's got a film coming out next year. Last Night in Soho, which looks incredible. Yeah.
I was going to say too. It's interesting that it doesn't seem tied to box office, the decisions they made, because they let go of the Captain Marvel directors. And they made $1 billion, and they hung on to Peyton Reed, who can't crack 600.
I think it's who meshes with them. And Joe Cornish is going to do Starlight. Mark Miller.
Yes, yeah. That's. I am so looking forward to that. I've got that comic behind me. Starlight is a brilliant comic, and Joe Cornish is a very good director. He's the guy that gave us John Boyega in Attack the Block. So that's.
Okay.
Yeah, and he also writes a lot. So he wrote Tintin and all those films. I know him from a show called The Adam and Joe Show. If you're English, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Right. I mean, who? Let's have a look at the comments. People are asking us questions. Eddie Gomez is the question.
Yeah, Eddie Gomez is here for his weekly Sentinel question.
What was the question? Century is coming soon at small screen. That's a question better aimed at Mikey, I think.
Yeah, they have been developing Sentry for a while now.
Yeah.
Waiting for the right time to have him appear. He is definitely a character that you will see the next couple of years.
Yeah, he's definitely someone that's coming in relatively soon. What else does Eddie want? Sorry, any word on if a Gambit series is in development for Disney Plus? I can tell you that they're not making the movie. That's definitely not happening. Gambit wouldn't be bad actually for Disney Plus, but I haven't heard anything about it, and it definitely won't be Channing Tatum.
I haven't heard anything new, but they still want to do the whole modern Western style.
That'd be really cool. I think Gambit is a very underappreciated character, actually.
He is.
Yeah, I think he's someone that could do really well in a series. I think a series would suit him actually very well.
I mentioned a couple of years ago on TiVo's show that Kevin Feige's been looking at Westerns, and just give us some time because he's always like 10 years ahead of everybody else. I think Gambit would be a way of getting into that genre, but it'd be a more contemporary take on it. But Marvel has a long history of Westerns with Rawhide Kid and Two Gun Kid, and some of those characters ended up meeting the Avengers too. I mean, there's also that. So
I'd love to see a Marvel Western.
Oh, I would too.
I think a decent way to go into that would be through Wolverine. That would make relative sense, I think. Too. I mean, kind of Old Man Logan, which is Logan, what they kind of based that comic. I mean, if you read the comic, there's not that much.
There's no blind Hawkeye. There's no Spider-Mobile.
Yeah, that film in live action that comic in live action would be really weird but really cool.
Yeah,
like people would be like, "Wait, what? You're bringing back Jeremy Renner? He's now blind in one eye. No, he's blind. He's completely blind. They're driving a Spider-Mobile. It's like, what is this movie?" And then Hulk at the end is like evil and shit. It's like, oh my god, that's such a good comic. Seriously, one of my favorites.
Rajneesh, yes, of course. There's plans, but that's going to be forever.
I reckon that would be not the upcoming Avengers film, but the one after. I think that would be what they're gearing up to afterwards.
Yeah.
Again, they seem to be they're moving pretty quickly actually on Young Avengers. Young Avengers seems to be casting already. Incidentally, one of the actors has actually been talking to me, and he was like, "I can neither confirm nor deny that I've been cast in this." I was like, "Okay, but you went up for an audition." He's like, "Yes, I did go up for an audition." I was like, "Dude, you should have said that." He's like, he's 19 years old.
Also, it's not Ben Jones.
No, it's not Ben Jones. You can read an article on Small Screen about Iron Lad. That's all I'll say.
Oh yeah.
And
we need to get Finn Jones on the show with Simu Liu.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool. Wow. And then be like, Finn, do you know how to do any of the stuff that Simu Liu can do?
That's not fair to poor Finn.
Finn will be like, you're my friend, Edward.
Ed, you're in the year below me, mate. I could beat you up. You could beat me.
Knock him when he's down.
Oh man, poor old Finn. Seriously.
Death taxes and Young Avengers. There is no escape.
Yeah.
I have to admit, my interest in Young Avengers is absolutely zero. I have to see the characters.
Again, I think it's a show that they're really hoping will capture kind of younger audience.
That's what scares me.
I really do think it's going to be that sort of thing. Like honestly. I haven't been like loving Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but the last episode I was like, okay, now the MCU is going somewhere and going somewhere really dark.
Well, and it's funny because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's Disney Plus; they're going to tone it down." No, it's more violent.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything that brutal in a theatrical? That was brutal. It was disturbing.
It's not just that. It's literally Wyatt Russell is just honestly inspired casting.
Yes, he is.
I was watching that thinking, like, he's been getting so much hate from people because he's so dumb.
Threats, good time.
But like that episode, really, to me, I was like, oh, this is where this character's going.
Yeah.
Okay, like they were kind of people. You could kind of see that was where it was going. The way he acted and the way he was like, obviously he has this massive chip on his shoulder about not being the real Captain America because he doesn't have the suit, the super soldier serum coursing through his veins. The guy's going to go nuts. That's what's going to happen. I can't wait.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mikey.
Well, they're using a snap, but I didn't expect it to be that bloody. And then they had people filming and taking pictures. So okay, this is really twisted. I mean, it's realistic though. It is. That would happen in real life, but
they must have had another shot from the side where when he brings his shield down. and you see the guy's leg twitch. I'm sure they shot that. I'm sure, and they probably just cut it. But man, you as a director, you'd have to shoot that.
Well, we'll go on social media as for the Twitch cut.
Yeah, right. Release Twitch cut.
But even though they, I mean, just the pure iconography of seeing the blood on the shield, I think that image is iconic already. I think, it's just. I really do think that they plan their shows and their movies and what they're doing out so well. That it's like it was building up to that moment, and it's again. I suppose a lot of people don't like us comparing what WB is doing compared to Marvel, but it's the lack of planning that you see from WB. Like obviously, this is something that shot was something that Kevin Feige and people involved in that show have had in their minds for a long time. And you can tell. I
mean, it's got to be strange to write a show where the whole point is you're going to have somebody who fails, so that somebody else can do what they do. That's a really strange premise to work with. But yeah, I was curious what they would do, and that's a great image. It's the best image in the show so far.
From what I heard too, is that when they discuss upcoming movies and shows, Kevin Feige will come up with scenes in his head. He'll what if we have this scene here, and then they'll work their way into to create that scene if it fits. And
they work backwards a lot.
And so this probably most likely came from that one of those sessions. Okay, we'll fit this in the show somehow, and God, it worked so brilliantly well.
Yeah.
So, Sax God,
I want to answer this, but go ahead, read it.
So, is it true that the directors at Marvel are just managers, and Feige and everyone is just edits the hell out of the work?
They're not just managers. So basically, what happens is Marvel has their own fight choreographers, and they have they write they plan, like Mikey always says, they plan so far in advance, and they have so many writers' rooms workshopping all this stuff. So the fight scenes and some of the movie beats they have pre-visited already, and they will hire a director that they think will fit in well in the Marvel Studio mold to get along with the producers and the editors and music license rights and all that stuff. And then, but they also look for the directors that have their own that can bring something to the table. They're not just hiring workmen or workwomen directly. Hey, kitten. So they're not just work for hire directors, but they do have to. I mean, there's been reports that some directors have left because Marvel Studios has their own fight choreography team, and they previs the crap out of everything. But that's smart because that's budget conscientious, and they can see what works and what doesn't work before they actually shoot a frame of film.
Apparently, they also test the hell out of films.
Yeah.
They
do.
And from Taika Waititi about that.
Yeah, that's where the reshoots hit, and even if they don't have to reshoot, it's more editing, and it's just the final product. And I think what it is to make the best movie possible. So, and I think as a director, you have to be on board for that.
Yeah. But I mean, you can tell that they do. I mean, they do hire directors to bring in a certain kind of a slightly different tone to each movie. So you can tell that
they have to bring
Ragnarok is a Taika Waititi film, and you can tell that Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 1 and 2 are James Gunn movies. There are then other films that you can't tell as much. I really do think the Russo brothers films are a bit more kind of formulaic Marvel, I think, in a weird way. I know you probably won't.
I think you're standing on an island for that one, but
no. I see what he's saying, because
I think. I think that film, those films in particular, I mean, they did the two Avengers movies, Endgame and Infinity War, and those were very much. I think Kevin Feige was incredibly involved in those movies, and those can tell. And I do think we should release the kitten cut.
No, but Edward, what you're saying, I agree, because they're pure Marvel. They're pure hit those beats, hit the narrative, but it's and like the Sox God says, they are just so sharp and tight, right?
Yeah.
But the other ones are okay, have fun and play with this. But the Russo brothers, they're bringing their whole skill set, especially in Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
It was a 70s thriller, but it was a clear action-paced 70s thriller that I think only they could pull off. You know, if you had another director, it wouldn't have that that whole tone throughout. You know, and that's what they're really good at, is having a level tone throughout each film, right?
And I just realized something. Maybe that's why the Russo's own films aren't that good. They don't have Feige producing.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, I know that TiVo's going to go mad in the comments. He's obviously someone that's very, very a massive fan of the Russo brothers. I don't dislike the Russo brothers. Community is one of my favorite shows of all time, and that was very much their show. And I do think they have made some of the best and most solid Marvel films ever made. But I do think they lack a certain flair, and that's literally all. When I think about Russo brothers, I can't really nail like their kind of style and their tone, and when I think of a Waititi or a Gunn or an Edgar Wright, you can tell that you're watching those kind of, a film made.
Yeah, now you're standing on an island, Edward.
I don't know. I mean,
what about that scene where the Hydra goes after Nick Fury, and then at the end, the Winter Soldier shows up? That is pretty much that's their feeling right there.
I mean, everyone's entitled
even mimicked in the dialogue scenes with Robert Redford, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fine, okay. I'm not saying they're bad directors. I'm just saying that they're a bit. No, but actually, what I know that if it does feel like this is me kind of shitting all over Amber Heard, but I will say one thing about one thing about that nightmare sequence. One thing about the nightmare sequence is
not shitting on you.
She might shit on your bed first, though.
Put that cookie down!
Well, I've noticed people in the comments mentioning a particular director, the guy that did the raid in Gangs of London. So that's Gareth Evans. He's a Welsh director, and if they bring him into Marvel, then all bets are off, because he is fantastic. He's so good. He's such a good
And do
director.
a Black Knight movie.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Feige is the secret spice, apparently, according to Danzig. Yeah, probably. I mean, I think everyone needs a very good producer, and I think he's just a very, very good producer. Retrograve Productions says, Russo's, I have settled on what they did with Winter Soldier, but now are in tune with Feige with the rest. Okay.
Steve Kazan for Big Wheel and Spider-Man.
What else do we have in the comments? So people, do you want to bring something else up? Here we go. The fight choreography in Moon Knight is fire. Yes, I've seen. What's his name? I'm forgetting his name now.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. Yes, Oscar Isaac doing the choreography, and it looks incredible. It looks really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to that one. I think I'm hoping that will be something a bit different from the MCU again.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think about that.
Well, of all the projects coming up, the two that most excite me are Moon Knight and Shang-Chi, because there's a lot of childhood nostalgia there for me for both. I love Moon Knight big time. And Kevin Feige has been saying internally, this is going to be our Batman. This is how we would do Batman.
I mean,
it's kind of the character, isn't it?
That's what he's compared to the most.
Yeah.
It's a good ambition to have, for sure.
Yeah, it is, right? I mean,
thirst.
more pressure on Pattinson and Hamada Burger. So.
But the Moon Knight, I know a lot of people like to compare him to Batman, but he's far more insane than Batman.
He's crazy. I mean, obviously
he's genuinely insane.
Yeah, he's really
I'm really curious to see how much they play into that.
Yeah,
you can do a version of him where he's not like that.
Yeah,
even though that's how he's been for quite a while now. And Oscar Isaac obviously he can do it, but Marvel also does like fairly simple, straightforward characters.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot easier to do it without that. I mean, he's weird enough as it is with all the mysticism, but you know, we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I honestly just think Oscar Isaac's fan casting himself in everything now. Like he's Moon Knight, and he's also he's in the Metal Gear Solid movies.
You're a funny guy, Sully.
Literally, I don't know what's going to come up next for him. He literally played Han Solo, kind of. It's his character in Star Wars.
I mean, he was really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I think he wants to do something that makes people forget that he was in the Star Wars movie. I don't think he can be very happy with how that turned out.
What a shame, though. He's a really good actor. He was just not utilized well. I mean, his character was very developed.
don't feel sorry for Oscar Isaac. He's been in some brilliant movies.
Oh yeah, he is.
Best one, Ex Machina, is just fantastic. If they get the guy that directed that, and I'm blanking on his name because I love him though. Alex Garland, that's his name. If they get him to come in and do anything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then that'll be brilliant. Dan Zig says Russo's hopefully could direct Secret Wars. Would you like to see that? Would you like to see that?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll get that.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that the Russo brothers do very well is they do very good kind of ensemble movies.
Yeah.
They're one of the very few directors that are able to bring all these superheroes together and make something coherent. There's talk about the Justice League. He didn't manage to do it on that occasion, did he?
I mean, I would say, like, obviously they get a lot of help from the other directors and from Marvel as well. But at least for me, there are things that they did better with characters outside their own franchises. So yeah, they understand the medium pretty well in ensemble pictures for sure. And
I'm pretty sure Secret Wars will be coming.
Not to open a can of worms here, but sometimes I wonder what Joss Whedon's Justice League would have been like if it was his from the beginning.
So different.
It would have been,
right?
More reds, more bright blues.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think he ever would have tried, because 2 hours to introduce 4 origin stories plus Batman and Superman, it's just too much. I think he just would have
exactly.
said no.
Yeah, I agree. Apparently, She-Hulk's filming this week. So just to check, I'm really excited for that show. That's
you guys might know the answer to this, because I don't know off the top of my head. I always assumed Whedon did the Justice League to get Batgirl. I assumed he was kind of doing it for something else.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a feminist, isn't he? So he really wanted to do
that.
He
says.
Just
no.
Constantly saying I'm a feminist does not make you a feminist. I think that's something that Joss needs to learn.
True. Did you read the article his ex-wife put out?
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's the most, like, if I were him, I just would have gone into a hole and never come out.
He has done. He literally doesn't comment on anything.
No, he doesn't anymore. But I mean, he did Justice League after that. So I mean, I just would have said, okay, I'm out. I made enough money. Thanks.
Mikey, do you have any Fantastic Four cast news?
Oh, I wish I did right now.
Mikey!
What I can tell you is that Emily Blunt isn't going to be in it, and it's looking like John Krasinski might not be in it either.
You lie!
I'm not lying.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Well, do you know, Edward, is that a choice Marvel's made or a choice Krasinski made?
I think it's more of a choice Emily Blunt.
And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.
I know the Blunt reason.
I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
I was curious about Krasinski because I know why Emily Blunt said no.
Yeah, because I mean Krasinski. Honestly, I wonder whether it's more of a Marvel thing. They're looking for younger actors and lesser known people, and looking. I mean, Krasinski and Blunt were really a fan casting thing.
Boss Logic.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of it was there were ideas and there were meetings being had between people. But again, I'm pretty sure they're bringing in John Watts. They're looking for a younger cast. That's one thing that John Watts can do very well is work with younger actors, and then have this be a franchise that can live on for many, many years. And as opposed to if you bring in John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, then max you're probably looking at 3 to 4 maybe like movies with them in it. Not much more than that.
It's also more expensive.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah.
And I think Emily Blunt is looking to do not attach herself to a big franchise and be in multiple movies. It's not something she's really interested in doing. She's not doing a Mary Poppins 2. So, question for Mikey: do you think Sony and Netflix, Sony Netflix deal impacts the Marvel and Sony Spider-Man relationship? It's a good question, actually. Is Mikey even there? Has he just gone?
Yeah. No, I I was interrupted by the man in the chair. So. No. I don't think it'll be harmful at all.
What I think, it's more harmful for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm pretty sure they would love to have the Spider-Man movies on their platform, and this means that they won't have them, or they'll have to wait a bit longer to have them.
Maybe a bit longer to have them. From what I heard, though, what Disney wants on Disney Plus are things they fully own.
Yeah.
So I don't think they were really expecting to get the streaming rights to the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. It's a shame because I would like to have them all in one place. All the
that'd be great,
Marvel movies, and that was the whole reason why people were so excited about the Marvel Sony deal in the first place. Is that Spider-Man's finally coming back to the MCU. He is in the MCU, but you can't see him his movies on Disney Plus. They'll be on Netflix instead. Everyone subscribed to both anyway. I don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. I do. So.
Yeah. I mean, the only subscriptions people seem to be canceling are HBO Max subscriptions at the moment.
Actually, the only losers really are HBO Max. To continue on this path.
Oh man, seriously, we got some interesting comments here. Sil's going, "My brain hurts." Whedon. Raj says, "Joss Whedon is such a hypocritical shitbag." Good riddance to him. People don't like the guy.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that pretend to be woke just to be able to get girls. Right?
The problem is with Joss Whedon is he made one of my very favorite series of all time in Firefly. I loved Firefly. I did too. I was such a massive fan of that.
Great show.
And I was a massive fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer as well. So I'm kind of like, can I still watch those shows? I watch Firefly once every year. Like that's something I've done.
You have to detach the creator from the art. They're two separate things.
Bingo. Yeah.
If you're gonna throw out everything where the creator had something in their closet, you're throwing out 99% of everything.
Yeah, but I gotta skip through the scenes with Kevin Spacey and Baby Driver though.
Yes. Yes.
And it's really hard to watch Joss Whedon stuff now. And I was a big Firefly, still am a big Firefly fan, and Serenity, and it's just hard.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he presented himself as like the biggest feminist, back in the day, like strong female characters, and
what was this whole shtick?
Yeah, right. And then you find all these horrible things about him. Like, you're just trying to get laid, dude.
I mean, there was a lot of that, and there was a lot of and there's the other thing is that it sounds like Nathan Fillion wasn't the nicest guy either.
Well, yeah, I can attest to that. I mean, I didn't meet him personally from people I know who have met him. He's not very nice.
Yeah, especially like stuff that you hear from the Castle set.
Stacey, what's her name? Did he make her cry or something like that?
Yeah, multiple times.
They had to separate them in the last season, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that moving forward, there's more opportunities for us to do things like this. And really, it at the end of the day, it's about the fans. And I think the fans want to see it. And it gives us a way to sort of explore maybe some different stories and different ideas and use the medium in a different way than it's been used thus far.
And that's him talking about you, Sil. The audience wants to see other news stories.
Off now.
What he's really trying to say is, you're gonna watch Our Man and you're gonna love it.
How you doing, Sil?
Oh boy!
All right, this is now
Wonder Woman 3.
This is now Super Team Mega Force officially.
Yes. Officially, yes.
Super Team Mega Force.
Right on cue, man.
And people are saying, "Don't trash the Nevers. Casey Blois will block you."
F Casey Blois.
Oh man,
that show actually went on. I thought that show was canned already because of the whole controversy.
No,
it finished.
He went through with it
before he
wow. I was really surprised. I was like, "What?"
Because someone else finished writing it. The rest of the episodes. That's all.
The Rookie is a great show. It's super underrated. And I have a hard time believing Nathan Fillion's a douchebag.
It's a lot of. I mean, there are a lot of people that claim that, but then again, Hollywood is full of people that aren't very.
Well, and the whole castle stuff, like I don't know, like one party was saying one thing, another party was saying the other thing, so you don't know who to believe. But The Rookie, I don't know how many people here watch it, but
it's good.
It's good. Shows that I watch every week, and that's one of them. It's great.
And also, Nathan Fillion's Canadian, so how can he be nasty?
Very true.
Yeah, seriously. I'm surprised Nathan Fillion isn't there with you, James. I thought all Canadians knew each other.
Exactly.
That's the thing I always get. I always get like, because I'm part Scottish. People are like, so an American will go, do you know so and so from Scotland? I'm like, no. It's like, yeah, no, we're really good friends.
See, I'm half Scottish, Edward. That's why you and I get along. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things. I'm joking. Of course. What else? We have DC Talk with Extended saying something. He says the Hamadaverse is dead. Bury
Just getting started, baby. Just getting started.
It's all going to happen with our man.
There's no room in the pet cemetery to bury it. So
it's just getting started.
Oh man, I had a prop to use today, right? And
where is it?
It was it's not here. It's not here. It's so annoying. But what I will do is, I'll basically I got a Hamada Burger mug, and it came broken.
That's perfect.
Somehow, it's kind of symbolic, right?
It's symbolic.
Dead on arrival, Hamada Burger.
Dead on arrival.
Classic WD.
I need to show. Here it is. You can see it there. It's broken. The thing's broken.
Beautiful.
It came in that box. Nothing was in it.
Fitting.
And it was just completely and utterly smashed. That's brilliant, isn't it? Oh man, you can bring everyone else back now.
You know what sucks? Like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm writing bad news for the site, and I go on YouTube and I joke with you guys. I'm like, I'm enjoying this more. It's like when I'm writing bad news, I can't hear So laugh while he's reading it. You know,
right. Well, it's become a thing now. Like on Twitter, people ask, like when I say, "Oh, a new Geekosity story coming out," they're like, "Is it good news?"
Bring out the bourbon. Bring out the bourbon.
But that's the thing. That's maybe a problem with Marvel. It's just that it seems to be too streamlined at the moment. Maybe they need to come up with some drama of their own, so we can start.
I mean, they had that thing with WandaVision where it pissed you off and other people, and I mean,
actually, that's
not
a
to the
good point.
extent
So,
where. Sorry, Peter. Not to the extent where people are going to trend 1.5 million tweets, though.
Yeah.
No.
Zemo cut.
Yeah,
Zemo. Look, they cut the Zemo cut out like in 5 minutes.
Cut. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Kind of like an FU to Warner Brothers right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, you're cutting the bill. Here's your Zemo cut.
Here's 5 Zemo cut.
It's not
faster than a Hamada Burger. I mean,
it's not a FeigeBurger.com, is there? So it seems to...
missing out.
Yeah, they're doing they're doing things too well, I think, almost. And
you watch like a month from now, Mephisto only on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
For those of you who want WandaVision, you get your Mephisto cut.
The Mephisto cut, man.
The Quicksilver, just Evan Peters scenes, just scratched out. Put him with a rabbit.
You are right. There were things in WandaVision that got people kind of pissed off. That was one of them, the Evan Peters thing.
Oh yeah, I'm still upset about that.
Honestly, what was it? The Ralph Boner joke was probably one of the worst jokes ever made.
That was Iron Man 3 level.
You see it recurring in the response to Falcon and Winter Soldier when they were teasing an appearance for Episode 5. All it is memes from WandaVision.
Ralph Boner.
People don't even want to speculate about it because they were so pissed off by WandaVision. They don't want to look silly.
But it's that MCU currency. Like they recover so easily off of that because like that
people will
was,
forget eventually.
Yeah, exactly. It was a bad bait and switch. But everyone's like, okay, let's watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. Okay.
Yeah, Loki's coming. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and Loki's coming.
Loki looks so good.
And then Black Widow's in theaters coming.
It's like like Marshawn Lynch. He might drop a ball every million years. He'll go in full beast mode. Well, you'll forget all about the drop ball, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they deserve it though. They built this up, so I can't hate.
I got a rant because Warner Brothers is pissing on the fans. I mean, I've never seen such horrible social media management in my life. It's like here are the fans asking for something. What do? You throw gasoline onto the fire.
I don't know, man. I was a social media manager for GoPro, and I was pretty bad at it. There was some pretty bad social media managing stuff going
close
on.
to it then. Close to it.
Yeah.
You remember the first Clerks movie, Kevin Smith? The way that one guy would treat his customers? That's Warner Brothers. Like James, if you can find a scene from Clerks where he's ranking on the people renting videos, that's Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I'm like, I have message groups on Twitter, like in the fandom, and I just tell them, like, just bypass Warner Brothers, Warner Media, just tag AT&T, ask Restore the Snyderverse. Don't even talk to Warner Brothers anymore, or Casey Bloys. Don't talk to Casey Bloys. He's blocking. I seen the conversation in real time. Okay, like if someone I know, Casey Bloys posted the Josh Wheaton show, the Nevers numbers, and all my mutual said was, dude, if you're going to support Josh, then I'm canceling my HBO Max. You're not supporting Zach. Block. Like, as soon as he said that, he got blocked. Like, oh my God.
It's called Casey Block, isn't it?
Yeah.
Casey Block.
Casey blocks. Casey blocks.
Casey Blocks.
I'm about to get blocked right after this.
See, it does prove that he's reading it, so
Yeah.
his butt hurt really easily.
Hurt his feelings. Yeah, that was real sensitive.
I do wonder whether Kevin Feige is going to block me with all the Edward for Captain Britain hashtag things I'm tagging him
He
in.
probably just muted you. That's a
The muting's easier.
He just muted you.
He's like, who the fuck is this guy? He's not even an actor.
No, he knows. Like, hey, isn't that Finn Jones's buddy? Oh, yeah.
I know, yeah. I've spoken.
He could be our new Iron Fist. Come on.
He doesn't want me in it. He's like, no, if I can't be in it, you can't be in it. Fuck off. Oh man, I still think I'll do the voice. I'll do the voice of Captain Britain. I'll get that one. Hopefully in a video game or something. That'll be cool. One day. One day when I decide to leave YouTube and actually go into an acting career.
So how about that HBO Max ad that's saying that the completion of the Snyder trilogy?
Oh man,
yeah, I talked about that earlier on. Yeah,
that's lit a fire in the fandom. Like like people start canceling their HBO Max. But I keep telling them just faith, just faith, Alfred, faith.
It's really
wait it out.
It's really sounding a bit like you're part of a cult, mate.
Just wait it out. Just wait it out. I know, faith. All right, that's right. But I'm just saying,
I kept waiting for the written by Anna Asparagus, like at the end,
Silo Sarnoff.
It's her words directly into that.
Yeah, that's literally
right?
her words.
Her words, right? Like
we are.
Oh my God.
I can see her snooty face going, I told you so.
Win-win situation.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is really, I really do think this is what happens when you get executives involved, like put them in front of people.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
When you name a single executive at Disney, like really, apart from the CEO, Bob Chapek and Bob Iger. Yeah. You can't. The only person you really know is Kevin Feige, and that's it.
Yep, that's it.
You can't name like people inside, really inside Warner Brothers. Well, sorry, Marvel Studios.
We shouldn't know Cernoff at all.
No,
like,
you should.
We should not know who she is.
No,
she's
Hamada Burger.
Well, she's Hamada's human shield right now.
Exactly.
But that's the weird thing. The one person you should hear from is Hamada, is Walter Hamada, and you don't hear anything from the guy.
No.
And then like you get Ann Sarnoff coming out, you get Casey Bloys sharing stuff. Yeah. Jason Kilar going on shows and stuff, and just making actually saying they made mistakes. It's like it just doesn't make any sense.
It's a joke.
Wow.
Just don't engage. Do not engage with Warner Brothers online, Warner Media. I'm just saying, they want to paint the fandom toxic as possible. Just don't even. Don't even.
Yeah.
It's a pretty common tactic now.
That's how MCU fans are thinking about this whole DC controversy.
That's perfect.
I enjoy the show. That's the thing.
Love that awkward white man dance. Love it.
You know that he said that Daniel Bruhl said there was much more of that they shot.
I heard
Didn't
about
make it. So really, they released a version of the Zemo cut, but they didn't release the whole thing. They need to release the whole thing.
So there's a Snyder cut of the Zemo.
4 hours of Zemo dancing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Already put out an hour. Why not 4?
Yeah.
I can't believe they did an hour, Peter. That shocked me. They did an hour.
They put it the Snyder cut of the Zemo cut will be an aspect ratio 4:3. Will be very muted colors.
I
thought it was hilarious. They released this while the Ayer cut was trending.
Oh,
it's such a great example though of how better managed it is.
Yeah.
Because so many other companies, when anything happens, they just start fighting with their fans on social media for whatever reason.
Bad thing.
Marvel doesn't engage, and if something is working, they'll just like the Zemo dance, just put it out.
Yeah,
it doesn't cost them anything, and people loved it.
The Warner Bros. Should be learning.
The whole Mephisto thing didn't say anything. They just all these memes started coming out.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. Mephisto. I really don't know if we're ever going to see Mephisto in the MCU though.
Mephisto, Disney Plus.
He'll come eventually.
Al Pacino is Mephisto.
Oh God, that was one of the rumors for the next episode of Falcon too. Al Pacino was power broker.
He is a power broker.
And I'm like, how old is Al? I don't know if we really want him doing.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
It'll just be like a close up on his face and him being like, "Hooah!" and then it's like he's arrived.
Last night, Matt Jarbo appeared on this YouTube show. He's in his car, and his red light all surrounding him, right? Like, oh my God, Mephisto showed up.
Confirmed.
There you go. That should have been one of your April Fool's articles. Matt Jarbo is Mephisto.
People would have believed it though.
I really, honestly, yeah. There you go. I think it's James. James is Mephisto. We can tell.
Does have the right lighting.
Yeah, he's the one pulling the strings in the background. He's the one that I've done Shut up. The whole thing about Mephisto, right, is that he loves to do deals with people, isn't it? That's the whole thing about him. And what you see, this is the deal that I pulled with bloody Mephisto. He was like, "I'll give you a YouTube channel,"
and you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.
And then this happens.
Really, I never. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
That's so fitting. That's so fitting. What happens every show? Like.
I know, seriously.
You see the speculation that came out today that the Kingpin is a power broker. Like, come on, what the hell is he doing in Madripoor?
Yeah. Why would you put him there, and why so late in the show? It doesn't.
Yeah, I know, right?
So did y'all touch on yet, Peter? Who do you think is this mystery guest? I'm aiming really low.
It's all we really know is it's a grounded character who hasn't appeared before, and that covers a bazillion different Marvel characters. Even in Madripoor, there's a lot of choices, and yeah. So who the hell knows? And they want them to meet Thor. That was what the showrunner said.
Really?
That was
bizarre.
And you're like, what are we supposed to? That's your personal opinion. That could be anybody. You know,
right? I thought something connected with Thunderbolts or something, but maybe not.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, the next episode takes place in Louisiana. Where was Gambit, right?
Yeah, there you go. Brandon Tatum's going to show up.
What if Zemo is a power broker?
I've seen that speculated.
Yeah,
it's hard to say because the show, because of the reshoots they did to get rid of the virus plot, the way the show's cut up is kind of weird, and it makes it a little harder to figure out what the hell they're doing with the power broker plot. Because I guess what changed really impacted the Flag Smashers, which is why I think their plot is so.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's not landing. Yeah, it's the Flag Smashers.
No, it's really confused. It's because they had to change their motivation, and
and that's because Black Widow didn't come out first. Basically,
no. They had a virus plot, and then the pandemic happened.
Yeah,
they cut it out. But so they had a couple weeks of reshoots. Can't really fix it.
And I don't think they started that until like February, right? To try to retool it. I think it was
they did
really
the
recent.
After the pandemic. It was in the fall. Is when they did the reshoot.
Also, it was even later. Okay, they even less time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
My goodness.
it's,
I'm talking about February 2020, but yeah, you're saying last fall.
this fall, yeah, I think in September, October they shot in the Czech Republic. But that definitely had a big impact on that B plot. And I think it's almost completely killed it, at least for me. Fortunately, the show doesn't have to lean on that, but it does make guessing who the power broker is difficult because the power broker would have had a different role originally than he has now. So, or she. So who knows?
Just have Cap kill somebody. That clears it up. Like,
there you go. Just get John Walker.
It's like, okay.
Or Zemo dance.
Oh, God.
I think it's going to be that aerospace engineer. Is the
oh my God. Wanda
Ralph away with that?
Ralph Boner is a power broker.
Ralph Boner. Oh, that would be.
Ralph Boner, yeah.
I would love it.
All connected.
Oh, I like the Hamada, the power broker.
And I do think that moving forward.
He's fucking Mephisto, man.
Yeah, that's Mephisto right there. This is uncomfortable smile on his face the whole time. Like,
You can go over there and hit the fucking like button. All right, you hit it now. You motherfucking hit the fucking like. I just told you to hit the motherfucking like button. So you gotta do it right now. Do it.
Well, he can always say that the devil made me do it. So.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. I don't know, Mikey. Do you have any clue on the power broker? Because
I didn't say it in my article because I want to get into the whole Mephisto thing, but I really think Tiger is a possibility.
That was kind of what I was guessing from you.
It just seems like it's. I don't know. I mean, from the rumors that came out a few days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, why hold off on showing it for so long? I wonder, though. Like, how many people even know who Tiger is?
That's the thing too. It could be nobody, or it could be somebody. It's not the Kingpin, though. It really makes no sense.
No, I suppose that the actor or actress in that case is big enough; they don't need to know the character.
Yeah.
Now, if the cameo is related to the, because when the showrunner said the cameo, he said it's an actor who hasn't appeared before in the MCU, right? Now, is that the same with the power brokers? See, that's what it's confusing. Are they the same person? It's a cameo.
Don't think so. I suspect the power broker is someone you'll see in episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah,
and I get the impression this episode 5 appearance is just one and done. That's my guess.
If you take that out of the equation, I think Thunderbolt Ross sounds like the power brokers. He would want that super soldier to create the Thunderbolts.
That
Thunderbolts, right?
Some of the early speculation. My only problem with that theory is, why does he need to be undercover? He's
true.
Secretary Ross.
Yeah, people know who he is.
Goes down to the military and says, "Hey guys, start making me super soldiers." They're like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah,
there's no need for subterfuge. But otherwise, that'd be a great theory. Like if he was out of favor, I think he'd be a perfect power broker. Perfect.
Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. It's episode
it's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow
night? 5. No, it's Friday. So it's Friday.
Well, Thursday midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, and
it's tomorrow for Mikey and I. Our tomorrows go till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Time zones.
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to find out that Ralph Boner is in fact the power broker. He is the power broker.
They can't do this again. They have to be stopped if they do this. Okay.
And on that note, I think we should end it there. But thank you so much. Enough talk. We've done enough talk. Almost 2 hours of talking. Thank you, guys, everyone, for coming on the show today. It's been brilliant having you on. Thank you to Peter and his cat. On cue. Such a well-trained cat. Thank you to Sil. Well, actually, promote your new channel, Sil, and you also.
Yes. Peter. SilAbdul.com or SilAbdul_com because they won't let me put
hashtag Geekosity, yeah,
something like that. That's just to catch the eyes early. I'm gonna, but yeah, we had our successful relaunch today. I had Mikey on there talking about some CW and Flash, and so that was fun. Just branching out the conversations a little bit.
Both those scoops are on geekositymag.com.
Yeah, and where can we find you, Peter?
So I am Marvel. That surprised me. I am Marvel on YouTube and on Twitter. And then I have a blog called MCU and Comics. And
Awesome.
a cat.
And a cat who really wants to
be part of the process.
And you can find Mikey at Geekosity, can't you, Mikey? Geekosity
Yeah, or ralphboner.com. Does that exist? I'm afraid to look at what's on it.
We've got to bring that into the Small Screen Geekosity network. ralphboner.com. Definitely.
ralphboner.com.
Right, thank you very much, guys, for watching. You can
Thank
find
you,
us at Small Screen Co. I almost forgot where we were. Everywhere it's on social media and small-screen.co.uk. Right, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. And hopefully, our very own Mephisto can end the show now.
At 42 cut.
And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.